Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of New Westminster's Sunday celebration service. Please join us for our opening song this morning, See God in Every Face.
We come together to behold the power of love, the power of light. We come together to behold. We are divine. Lift up our hands, lift up our hearts, oh, lift up our vision, lift it to the stars. Dance in the glory, whirl in the grace. See God in every face. See God in every face. We come together to behold the power of love, the power of light. We come together to behold. We are divine. Lift up our hands, lift up our hearts, oh, lift up our vision, lift it to the stars. Dance in the glory, whirl in the grace. See God in every face. See God in every face. We come together to behold the power of love, power of light. We come together to behold. We are divine. Lift up our hands, lift up our hearts, oh, lift up our vision, lift it to the stars. Dance in the glory, whirl in the grace. See God in every face. 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 Hey!
Welcome back. I am Reverend Rhona Segarra, and it is my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of Unity of New Westminster Spiritual Community in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Whether you are watching live on Zoom, on Facebook, or on YouTube, or whether you are watching on demand later, it is my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all of you. We would love to stay connected with you. So if you could subscribe to our newsletter or subscribe to our YouTube channel or like us on Facebook and add us to your social media likes and friends, we would love to stay connected with you. The Unity Movement offers spiritual principles for full and abundant living. We draw on the teachings of Jesus as our primary way shower and example. And we honor that there is wisdom in faith traditions all over the planet. We honor every person's right to choose their own spiritual path. All are welcome here. All are worthy here. All are celebrated here. We open our service today in prayer. I gratefully acknowledge that I speak to you on the traditional and unceded territory of the Semiahmoo First Nation. And we give thanks to First Nation peoples everywhere for their custody of this beautiful land. We give thanks that we are able to meet together in this virtual setting at a time when we are unable to meet in person. We give thanks for our connection one with each other. That connection that happens whether we are in each other's physical presence or not. That connection that binds us all together. We acknowledge that there is only one presence, that there is only one power, that power that is understood by many names, many faces, and many paths. And we affirm that regardless of the name, the face, or the path of our understanding, that we are one human family. And it is in that knowledge of our oneness that we send a blessing for love, for peace, for contentment to every being on this planet, to every being, regardless of all the labels that threaten to divide us. We are one. And for this knowledge, for this intention, and for the power that we have to bless, we give thanks. Amen. The reader for our daily word today is Glenn Hall. Glenn has been a member of our community since 2019, and he regularly lends a hand doing some of the chores that need to be done every week at our building. He is always ready with a smile, and what I appreciate most of all about Glenn is his thoughtful consideration of ideas. We will be in a group sharing ideas, and Glenn will be thinking. And then he offers an insight that adds to the conversation in such a rich way. Glenn is a natural teacher, and I am so glad that he is a part of our community. Glenn Hall to read the daily word today.
Good morning. Today's daily word is for Sunday, January 31st, 2021. I find my power in this very moment. There's power in this very moment. Yesterday is past, and tomorrow is not yet here. There is only this moment, ripe with promise and potential, ready for me to live into it fully. Through my many divine gifts, everything I need to get started is within me. I need not wait for the perfect time to arrive, because there is no more perfect time than now, and no place more perfect than here. Procrastination has no place in my life. I fritter away my energy when I find reasons not to get started, losing my zeal and focus, and inviting frustration into my life. Today, I claim the power of the present and say, this is the day I begin. Now is the time to begin, to serve, to forgive, to create, and to love. And the reading is from 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 2. See, now is the acceptable time. Now is the day of salvation.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu es l'image de Dieu. I hold you in my heart. Tu es l'image de l'amour. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu sei la luce di Dio. I hold you in my heart. Tu sei il volto dell'amore. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of God. The face of God. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are a part of me. A part of me. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. Eres la luz de Dios. I hold you in my heart. Eres la cara del amor. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face. Tu sei la luce di Dio. You are the face. You are the face of God. You are the face. Tu es l'image de Dieu. You are the face. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. La luz de Dios. You are the face. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Have you ever tried to explain Unity's teachings in a few simple sentences? Perhaps to a friend or to a family member, or perhaps even to yourself? If so, then today and next week might be instructional for you and helpful for you as we explore Unity's 5 basic principles. These principles form the basis, the foundation for everything that we speak of at Unity. These principles address our relationship and understanding with the one power that we call God. It addresses our relationship to that power. It addresses our relationship to each other. And it explores and provides suggestions for how we can become more aligned with the life of pure joy and bliss and abundance. You'll note that we say 5 principles, but these ideas are not unique to Unity. They are principles that are shared by faith traditions across the planet. They may have different names, but the principles themselves are universal. Today, we consider the first 2 principles, and next week we consider the other 3. The very first principle that Unity builds everything on is this: one power. There is one power. There may be many names for the power that in North America and many countries around the world people say God. Many understandings for that power called God. But by whatever name, we believe that there is only one power. If you do a Google search for names for God, you will find many other names. The One, Good, Spirit, Allah, Shiva, Mother, Father, Goddess, Great Spirit, Jah, Engal, Niskam, Paramatma, Ishvara, Elohim, Deus, Satnam, Baha, Vaiguru, and hundreds more. Those who do not follow a specific faith tradition may choose to understand that creative power in more secular words. Words that perhaps aren't related to a being of any kind, that are less human-like. For example, quantum, or energy, or life, or nature, or my favorite understanding for God, the Force, as described in the Star Wars movie series. Quote, an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us, penetrates us, binds the universe together. End quote. The all-encompassing description for God that I understand is God is creative power. One creative power. In the book The Secret, James Ray says it this way, quote, you go to a quantum physicist and you say, who creates the world? And he or she will say, energy. Well, describe energy. Okay, it can never be created or destroyed. It always was, always has been. Everything that ever existed always exists. It's moving through form and out of form. You go to a theologian and ask, what created the universe? And he or she will say, God. Okay, describe God. Always was, always has been, never can be created or destroyed, all that ever was, always will be, always moving into form, through form, and out of form. You see, it's the same description, only different terminology. End quote. One of my favorite inspirational musicians is Daniel Nahmod. And he sings a song called One Power, which we will hear at the end of this service today. He says in this song, quote, "Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord. Call it Buddha, Ba'ula, angel's wings, or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth, or Father Time. Whatever name you give it, it's all one power. Can't you see? One power." Note, this idea is not unique to unity. In the Bhagavad Gita, God is referred to this way. Quote, "By me is this entire universe pervaded. All things are in me and I in them. Know that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests in the sky, all creative beings rest in me. I am the father, the mother, the supporter, and the grandsire of the universe." End quote. Isn't that beautiful? All things are in me and I in them. If we can accept that there is one creative power, what are the implications and what is the nature of that power? Well, let's begin with that nature. At the moment, I am speaking to you and it is winter. If you look at trees outside right now, they appear to be dead. But within them is life. Within them is order and expansion and expression, waiting. And in the next few months, we will see those apparently dead trees come to life. And I think that is an expression and an understanding of what God is and the nature of God. The nature of God is order, expansion, growth, and beauty. God is in the visible and the invisible. The invisible that apparently looks dead, looks like nothing is there, as well as in the visible that we then see come to life. Everything that is visible once began as the invisible. And science has shown us that. We know that all matter is made from atoms, which are made from subatomic particles called quarks, when we get right down to protons, neutrons, electrons, which are made from quarks, which cannot be seen. All matter is made from the invisible. And God is all, the invisible and the visible. We are told that God is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. That means that God is both what we label good and bad. That can be a little mind-blowing. It means that there is no separation of any of life's pain from God. It also means that there is no contest between good and evil. There is no heaven and hell. There is no devil in competition with God. God is all creative power. What else can we say about that? There is no favoritism in God. There is no, I prayed well enough, therefore God is on my side and that's why I beat you at this war, at this competition. There is no, God is on my side but not on yours. In this idea of one power, we can understand that God applies consistently to all, equally to all, responding to all in a way that is consistent. So think in terms of nature, the sun, or even the rain. The sun doesn't care who it shines on. The rain does not care who it falls on. It doesn't say, oh, well, you were nice to me today and worshiped me today, so I'm going to shine on you only. But this person over here didn't do it, so I'm not going to. Jesus, in the book of Matthew, in the Sermon on the Mount, says exactly this. He says, and I quote, "The Father causes his rain to fall on the just and the unjust. The sun likewise shines on the righteous and the unrighteous." End quote. This creative power that we call God has no favoritism. And when we understand that, we take it one step further and recognize that there is no judgment in God either. Now, we may have grown up in households and faith traditions that believe that there is a judgmental God. I know at one point in my life I had this vision of God as this man, a white man, sitting on a throne with a staff on one hand and a clipboard on the other, simultaneously managing the intricacies of the entire world. Didn't even think of the universe, but simultaneously managing the intricacies of the entire world and keeping score of everything I did. We grew up, many of us, with this belief that if we didn't do God's bidding, we would be punished. That if we didn't obey, that God would turn away from us. We grew up with the belief that, as is actually said in some of the prayers today in some traditional Christian churches, that we are not worthy so much as to gather up the crumbs under God's table. That we needed to plead for God's mercy because we were born in sin. I know as a child I had difficulty with that concept of God. My parents were the most loving people. My mom is the most loving person I know. And there is nothing that I could do that would prevent her love for me. So it didn't make sense that God was this Santa Claus type person who would withhold love and grant blessings and withhold blessings on a whim. God needed to be less petty than that. The principle of one power shifts this concept of God. God is worthy, unworthy, good or bad, happy or sad. There is no spot that God is not. What else can we say about this idea of one's no spot that God is not? Well, it leads to the next principle, which is including us. God is not just out there, but also here. As Jesus said, one with us. The Father and I are one. And as Paul said, in him we live, we move, and have our being. When we are praying, and we are used to praying to something out there, it's not that that is necessarily a wrong thing, because it's all God. But it misses the mark if we realize, if we feel that we don't have any power. It is empowering to pray. But that's a different principle. In the meantime, we move to this idea of God is not just out there, but also with us, as us. Principle 2. We are expressions of that one creative power. There is no spot that God is not, including us. How could we be anything but expressions of God? You know, we look at mountains and flowers and sunsets and all things that are beautiful. And we see the activity of God in those things. And we have no trouble praising it, thanking God, being grateful for those beautiful things. We see a baby and we see the activity and the perfection. But somehow we seem to think that that perfection and that order and that beauty stops at our skin. We see all these things out there and have no difficulty recognizing it. But we have difficulty recognizing it within ourselves. And that is what Principle 2 is all about. That we are expressions and expressing God. If everything is creative energy, trees are budding because of creative energy, why do we think that we do not possess that? This may seem a little blasphemous. The idea that we are expressions of God and we express God. We express energy. So if that does feel a little challenging for you, try substituting the word God with a different word. Maybe life. I am an expression of life and I express life. Yes. I am an expression of energy, and I express energy. Yes. I am an expression of God, and I express God. Yes. Gandhi said, "We are of God, even as a little drop of water is of the ocean." How different that idea is from the idea that we may have heard before of our unworthiness, that we are born in sin. I remember as a child being so disturbed by that idea. The idea that a child who had never heard of Jesus would not get into heaven because they weren't baptized. I remember at some level thinking that it was so unfair. I remember thinking, this does not fit with a loving God. My God, a God of love, would never condemn an innocent to eternal damnation just because they had never heard of Jesus. And at some level, thinking also that I wasn't perfect. I could understand that. I make mistakes. I'm human just like everybody else. But I wasn't so bad that I was completely unworthy. At some level, it felt like it was insulting to God. God had made this inferior product. And if then this product, me, would have to just behave so well in order to be deserving of God's love. No, doesn't fit. If it fits for you, I'm happy for you. But for me, it doesn't. And we can live with those differences, can't we? That's the whole point. The whole point of this principle. That God is all, including me who believes in a certain understanding of God, and you who may believe a different understanding of God. Whatever brings you comfort is what brings all of us comfort, because we are all connected. And how comforting it was for me then to discover this different way of understanding God and my relationship, my place in the world. It was comforting to me to be offered a different possibility, that I could be part of a divine power, that I could be part of nature, that everything that I am expressing is okay because it is part of God. How freeing that discovery was for me. And then the next logical place for principle 2 is, if God is out there and God is me, then God must be you too. That means that all of us are expressive and expressing God and are expressions of God. That means that all of us are equally worthy of life and love and joy and contentment right where we are. That means that we who believe one way and understand things one way do not need to try to play God for those who believe differently. It means that we can stop controlling. We can stop labeling as good or bad or right or wrong. Because God is all of it. That means that even the people we don't like are God expressing. Where's the fun in that? Every person on this planet, regardless of their belief system, every person is part of this cosmic soup that we call God. Every person has this God energy within them. The power to form, the power to create, the power of order, the power of expansion. Each person, although they may not seem to behave that way, each person is inherently part of perfect order. There are no mistakes. No one is a mistake. God in us. God as us. Again, not something that is unique to Unity. In Unity, we call this God nature that we want to express more of. We want to express the best parts of God. Charles Fillmore, your mission is to express all that you can imagine God to be. This idea is not unique to Unity. At Unity, we call it the Christ within. The Buddhists call it the Buddha nature. In Hinduism, that indwelling God is called Atman. We are God expressing, each one of us. And when we are in touch with our indwelling God, our Christ within, we recognize our oneness with all that is. Everything we do, then, we can do in love, that highest expression of energy, that highest expression of vibration. We do it all in love when we know and are in touch with the idea that we are all connected, that we are all one in God. We see through our outer experiences and outer appearances to the face of perfection beneath. On Sundays that we sometimes sing that song, see God in every face. And that is indeed our goal. To see God in every face, including our own, including the people who we don't get along with, including those who don't believe the same way we do, including other Christian denominations that don't believe the same way we do. Again, this is not a new concept. The Sanskrit word namaste translates to, I bow to the divine in you, or the divine in you in me honors the divine in you. The divine in me honors the divine in you. When we honor this principle that every person is an expression of God, then we can stop wasting our energy trying to play God. We can stop trying to control and to fix and to second guess. Instead, we can trust that there is potential for growth and expansion for each person. That when they are expressing things that appear harmful and hurtful, that it is them operating at a lower energy of God. But God is all. And all we can do is focus on ourselves and our own expression of our power for good, our power for creation, for expansion, raising our consciousness, loving ourselves, and leaving the energy of others to them. Principle 2, then. I am God. You are God. Consider the implication for the world, for your life. If we could adopt either one of these two principles and live from them entirely. The first, that there is one power. Think of how many wars have been started, continue today, in the name of one God. My God being right, no, my God being right. What if we could accept that they are different ways of understanding one power? Think of the relationships that may have been saved, maintained, if we accepted that we have different belief systems and that we don't need to enforce our belief system on anybody else. Imagine the peace that we could live from if we could accept one power as being our truth. Imagine if we could accept that every face is God. Then all of those angry attempts to control, all those attempts to fix would fall away. And we could move into a place of knowing what is good for us to do because we love ourselves as expressions of God. And I'm not saying that means that every relationship needs to remain in relationship. I am saying that when we're in that place, we work from what works for us in a form of self-love, rather than a place of acrimony for the other. If we could live into these principles, then, as Daniel Nahmod says, we speak so many languages, have different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous when we forget in the heart we're all the same. And we'll remember when we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Part of that song, One Power. This week, as you see yourself in the mirror, as you see your best friend, as you see your family member, your co-worker, your friendly neighborhood politician, mentally repeat to yourself, you are the face of God. The divine in me honors the divine in you. God is. I am. You are. We are one. Part of the one creative power. Namaste.
One power, one power, one power, one power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power, one power. We speak so many languages, different clothing, different colors, different names. The different is only dangerous when we forget that in the heart we're all the same. We'll remember once we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. Oh, it's the power of the love in you and me. One power, oh, one power, one power, it's what we are. One power, one power, one power. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon, for it's love that's most deep. It's one power. It's one power. What we are is one forever in you and me. It's the power of the love in you and me.
On Thursdays at 11 o'clock, we hold a prayer service, which is a drop-in on Zoom. We all connect with each other, check in with each other, and then move into a time of guided meditation. It is a profound way of connecting with each other and a profound way of finding respite and calm and reset. And so if you are able to join us on Zoom on Thursdays, please consider doing so. The Zoom link is on the website. It is the enduring link that we use for all that we do. So please join us. On Friday night, we had our very first open mic night on Zoom. It was hosted by Jerry. It was an idea that Jerry had, and oh my goodness, it was so much fun. We laughed, we sang, we laughed, we heard poetry, we laughed, we saw dancing, we laughed, we heard music, we laughed. It was a wonderful experience. Wonderful experience. We had folks from Unity of White Rock join us, and they just added to the joy of this party. So thank you to Jerry, thank you to Alexandra, thank you to those who performed, those who attended just to be part of the audience, and I look forward to the next exciting open mic night on Friday, the last Friday of every month. It was so much fun. Thank you all.
Hello, my name is Alexandra Gale, and I'm the licensed Unity teacher at Unity of New Westminster. I'm here to share some information about some wonderful upcoming workshops entitled What is Unity? They'll be hosted by Wendy Carr, who's our licensed Unity teacher representative on the Unity Canada board, along with some friends. And they'll be held 5 to 6:30 Pacific time. The first one starts Tuesday, January 12th with an introduction to Unity, talking about our foundation with Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, creating this new spiritual movement called Unity, and its continued growth in the early days. On Tuesday, January 26th, Unity's 5 basic principles will be covered, telling you all about our core beliefs and how we express them. On Tuesday, February 9th, Unity's affirmative prayer and silent unity will be the topic of that workshop, and it will be exploring the foundation of this prayer ministry that has been operational in Unity for over 100 years. On Tuesday, February 23rd, you will move from our little white church on the corner to see the big picture of Unity worldwide in the Unity community. You can register for these by contacting Wendy at the email address listed below, lutrep.unitycanada@gmail.com. And if you can contact her by noon Eastern Standard Time of the day of the workshop, that will let her know that you're wishing to join and give you the information about the link. And as always, there's no fee. However, donations are always welcome to Unity Canada and gratefully received. If you need further information, you can call our Unity office, and the number there is 604-526-1421. We look forward to having you take part in these explorational workshops to delve deeper into this amazing unity movement that we belong to.
On Tuesday, February the 16th and Tuesday, February the 23rd at 7 p.m., I will be hosting a workshop called From Conflict to Connection. My friend Martha Creek has a saying that goes like this: where two or more are gathered, there will be bristling. And if you are in relationship of any kind, whether it's work, personal, spousal, children, you know that there are times when that is true. This workshop is intended to help expand our relationships and our ability to navigate in times when there is bristling, a time where we can expand our empathy for ourselves as well as our empathy for the people who we are in relationship with. The suggested donation is $50 for both weeks, and no one will be turned away. It is by donation. So I do hope that you join. We will have a sign-up information by next week on February the 7th. On Monday, February the 8th at noon, we will kick off our next Spirit Group program for writers. So if you've always longed to write, whether it's essays, a memoir, something nonfiction, or something fiction, please join us. It's a time where we get to share a little bit of what we've written with each other, and a time to connect and to hold each other accountable a little bit. Because if you've ever tried to write, you know that sometimes the hardest part is getting started. So this is an opportunity for you to get started in a safe place. Please join us. Monday, February the 8th at noon. The other spirit group that we will begin will happen sometime in March. And I will announce when that date will be, but sometime in March we will kick that off. We're so grateful for the financial support that we receive from those of you who are watching our service. Thank you. Your support not only supports our ministry, but also helps the work of Unity Canada and the work of charitable organizations in our own community. Thank you for your contributions. It is so appreciated. I invite you to hold whatever you feel that you are abundant and grateful for in your heart as we sing our blessing song.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
I hope you enjoyed your experience with us today. If you are watching us live, please consider joining our Zoom session after the service. It's a chance for us to connect with each other, see each other's faces, hear each other's voices, and just be in that place of communion and community. I wish you all a beautiful, beautiful week. Goodbye, everybody.
And let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. You are the light of God. You are the love of God. You are the power of God. You are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. You are the light of God. You are the love of God. You are the power of God. You are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. We are the light of God. We are the love of God. We are the power